Hey everybody, what's going on? It's Matt, and I'm excited that you guys are here with me tonight. This is going to be a lot of fun. This is going to be probably a little bit different than most webinars that you've seen before. I typically don't do webinars outside of my formal coaching programs, so this will be really fun. If you're new to kind of my tribe and you're new to this whole thing, then you're in for a real treat because this is not going to be some long sales pitch where you like walk away with like one little thing. You're probably going to walk away with at least like 10 things, and there's not going to be a sales pitch. If you want GMBs, I'm going to show you the absolute best way to get them and to get them at scale. We can help you to do that. But first and foremost, I just want to reward you guys for being in my community. It's just been an amazing year, thanks to you guys. So I just want to give back, help you, and make sure that you're getting the most value out of the GMBs that you're getting. So some of you, it looks like I would say half of you probably have GMBs from us already. Half of you maybe don't have them yet. And so whether you have them or not, this is going to be really instructional. If you don't have them yet, it will totally set you up on the right path to getting them. If you do have them and you're now like, hey, Matt, how do I maximize them and make the best use out of them? Then you're going to absolutely get that when you're here through the end tonight. Okay. So that being said, let's just make sure you guys can hear me well, and then I'm going to show you the longest page of notes ever, and then we will get into all of the content that I have for you. So, and we will take some time for questions. So if you have some questions, you can put them in the chat box. I'm not going to address the questions though until after I cover the main things, but I move quick. So we'll see how fast this goes. Maybe I can pack it in 20 or 30 minutes for you guys, leave a lot of room for questions, and we can be all wrapped up inside of an hour or less. All right. So there will be a replay, assuming GoToWebinar works. All right. Usually it does, but I've had it happen occasionally where it doesn't. So I am recording it. So all goes well, I'll have a replay up tomorrow for you guys. Okay. Awesome. Looks like we have a nice full house here, so I'm going to jump in and get started. So here is the longest page of notes ever for you guys. I know you're thinking, you're like, what? No fancy PowerPoint, not a huge page of notes. I'm just going to tell you my experience. I'm going to give you some case studies of what's working right now, what I'm using, what clients are using, and what fellow people in our community are doing as well that have been getting GMBs from us. All right, so let's start off with the old way of SEO. Okay, this, and a lot of people are still doing this. It's not wrong. It's just certainly not the most efficient way to be making money quickly today. All right, so the old way of doing SEO, which some of you may still be stuck in this way, is this. You go out, you build yourself a site, you build some links to it, you take your time and try to like really build things right so you don't, goof up and get yourself sandboxed, and you like take a few months to really like season the site before you start, really building up your GMBs, and then you add a few more, and it's like this very it's kind of this slow approach because you don't want to like upset Google in the process, and there's a belief that if you make it really natural, then it will do better in the long run. Okay, and there's nothing wrong with that approach other than it takes way too much time. You really have to be patient. And I'm one of those people that's just not patient. All right, when I got started in SEO many, many years ago, it was for my own business. Many of you guys know my story that I was a magician. Like literally, I made my income doing parties and events, everything from kids' birthday parties all the way up to corporate parties. And I realized like the magazines and the little newspapers and all the stuff I was advertising in, it produced some business for me, but everybody was looking online, and I had to figure out how to make the internet work. And so I learned SEO just by reading forums and buying books and courses. And I spent a lot of money, a lot of time, probably like you have, trying to figure it all out. And thankfully, I did figure it out. And I was able to go from just doing a few gigs here and there to doing like about 40 shows a month, and then started booking other people. And the key to my growth was I had Google My Business listings in dozens of cities, and I had really what was probably one of the first like mass page websites. This was before there was any like page builders for this kind of thing. It was all just done with some PHP code that that I had some guy on Freelancer write for me, and I just had like a giant spun page over every single area in the country. So it was like a 43,000 page website, and I was producing several thousand bookings per month from this. Obviously, they weren't just for me, so I did a handful of shows myself, but I just farmed them out to other people, and then eventually just started turning that into a lead gen site. Just sold the bookings. Didn't have to deal with all of the hassles of coordinating all these performers. So long story short, that's how I got my start into all of this. But my growth there was at first was very, very slow, but then I hit an inflection point and it just took off. That inflection point was getting my my site in all these different markets. Now I didn't have GMBs in every single market because I didn't have the ability to get GMBs like I do today, right? I had maybe a few dozen or so, which is still pretty good, but I had pages for like every city with that whole spun page thing. But that was my inflection point. I hit that, and I went from getting maybe like 50 to 75 bookings a month, and probably double that many leads or so. I probably closed about almost half of them. To doing thousands and thousands of leads per month and even thousands of bookings per month. So it was just like, it was a massive, massive jump. I'll never forget it. It was kind of surreal because it was that like first point where I was like, holy cow. It literally, that kind of moment can change your world. And it really did. I mean, since then, I've never looked back, and it's just been an amazing, amazing time. So that's why I want to share this with you guys. That, the old way of just taking a long time to do things and being really like slow and careful with Google, it can work, but you got to really be patient. I'm just not that patient. All right. So can I show you guys a faster way? Would that be okay? Cool. All right. So here's the new way. All right. The new way of SEO. And I'm going to be teaching more about this in 2019 because this has just kind of come about. But the new way of SEO is this. The new way of SEO is do not build some site and take months and months and months slowly, methodically, trying to tread carefully with Google, and then add your Google My Business listings, and then wait for those to rank, and then maybe add a few more. That's not how you do it. The new way is this. You first start off with Google My Business listings, okay? You put them in what we call a market saturation position, all right? So instead of like just going ahead and getting a Google My Business listing in Houston, okay? Say we really want to dominate Houston, okay? Google has proximity built into their algorithm. Most of you guys know this, you realize this already. If you don't, you send me a question on it and I can answer it for you. But basically Google sometime back went ahead and just cut the legs off of people that were ranking in big cities. Like there were some people in my group, Aaron, for instance, in my group, very, very large website that he had. And he was just getting thousands of phone calls per week in this particular niche because he was #1 in a very, very large city. Thousands of calls per week. Can you believe that? And what happened when this new algorithm rolled out was Aaron got absolutely whacked because they changed it from him appearing everywhere across the metro of this particular city to just appearing now right around the zip code where his listing was at. So what happened? He just was like, his traffic and his leads was probably cut by like 90%, 90%, all right? So really, really a shame. And what happened is they basically just gave the traffic to all of the quote little people, all the little listings that were all around the metro, not necessarily optimized, not ranked well prior to that, but because Google wanted to show people results that were closer to them. All right. So that was a moment where if you were ranking with just one listing in a big city, you got crushed. So now where is the flip side of that? Where's our new way of doing SEO? Now we don't go ahead and just bet all on one Google My Business listing and take forever to build a website. Now what we do is we first kind of poke Google with many listings, okay? Because Google My Business listings, if you get them right, they're very inexpensive, all right? Much less expensive than building out a whole huge website and taking all this time, because remember, time is money as well. If you wait 6 months to make something happen, that's also 6 months of wasted income. All right. So what we do now is we build many GMBs around the whole metro area. So instead of just getting a Google My Business listing in Houston, now we get a Google My Business listing all around Houston. We get listings in Spring and the Woodlands and Katy and Pearland and all these areas around Houston. All right. And what's going to happen now is when people are looking for whatever service that we're, ranking for, maybe this is towing, or maybe this is landscaping or something. What's going to happen now is if they're in one of those suburbs, and for a lot of home services kind of stuff, people aren't necessarily right in downtown city center. They live in a suburb, right? I mean, I don't know about you guys, but if you look in the cities that you're at, where typically are the nicest homes, right? They're typically not necessarily right downtown. Downtown might have more condos or high rises or towers or whatnot. A lot of times the nicest areas that would do well for home service kind of niches are going to be in the suburbs around a city. Okay, so what you want to do is you want to locate your Google My Business listings where your customers, ideal customers, are going to be at. So if we're talking something that is pretty generic and everybody kind of would want this thing, you spread them all out over the whole metro. But if it's a very high-end kind of service, right? If we're talking like installing a pool, all right, locate that in the most affluent areas of the metro, okay? And what's going to happen now is instead of just trying to say, hey, I want to rank it just for Houston pool installation, you want to actually rank for pool installation, and you want multiple listings that are all closely targeted to where your ideal customers are at, because using that proximity algorithm, Google is going to show you ahead of the people that are going to be, let's just say, downtown. All right. Now, there's other factors, of course, which we'll cover in a little bit as to how you get those rankings quickly. But I can tell you that locating your listing properly is the most important thing that you can do. Because if you just have a listing downtown, forget about ranking in these suburbs. It's just not going to happen. Google's actually going to reward the little guys that are going to be running out of their homes or something that are in those suburbs. Okay. I know this for a fact because many of my clients tell me that before they start working with us, that they only are getting business right around their specific area. They say, well, we're doing pretty good right around our area, but we're nowhere anywhere else. So like, why is that? If you go look for them, if you just go and you type their base keyword, this is a great example, right? But let's just say if you go type a base keyword for something in, okay? Let's just type property management, all right? Now I'm in North Mankato, Minnesota, all right? So I don't know what there is for management companies around here, but look at this. It's gonna be pulling listings just by typing property management, right? It's pulling listings that are nearby where I'm at. So the benefit of this is there's a lot of people in your particular niches that are looking for what you have, but they're not typing in the main keyword. They're not typing in property management Mankato, Minnesota, or property management Houston, or property management Houston, Texas, or Dallas, or whatever it might be. That's not always what they're typing. Sometimes they may type that, but they may just type property management near me, or property managers, right? And what's going to happen is Google is not going to register that as a search that's going to show up for just property management Houston, right? They're just not going to show that in a keyword tool. So what happens is your fellow SEOs out there that are not on this webinar, okay, some of them might be, but the vast majority probably are not. And what's great about that for you is they're still going off of keyword tools. And a keyword tool is not going to give you the full picture. If you're looking at a keyword tool going out, property management Houston, yeah, that gets a lot of searches, so I'm just going to target that. Guess what? You're going to miss out on a huge amount of the traffic that's going to be coming from property management only searches, and they're going to be coming from around the whole metro, okay? So yes, well, you still would want to rank for property management Houston. There's a ton of people that are going to be searching from Spring and the Woodlands and Pearland, Katy, all these other areas. And your fellow marketers are ignoring those. They're selling clients based on keywords, not proximity, not visibility, calls, and traffic, okay? So this is a game changer. I hope that registers with you guys. Let's make sure everybody's got that, because that's a very subtle point, and I can tell you that it's huge. It's huge. Are you guys seeing my screen okay? I've had a few of you say that you're not able to see my screen, and I want to make sure that you guys can see it. Is it coming through for you guys? Okay, so maybe just a couple of you are having an issue. Okay. But there is going to be a recording as well. So if there's something, I really haven't shown anything groundbreaking. You guys are going to know I'm not fancy PowerPoint. I just give you a real scoop of exactly what's working. Okay, not fancy, but it's going to really help. Okay, so everybody's good on that, right? Change the game here. It is not about keyword volumes. It's not about just being there for the biggest keyword. It is more important that you saturate a metro area where your ideal clients are at for this particular niche that you're targeting or niches that you're targeting. Okay, so while you can just get one GMB for a niche, that's really going to be pretty limited. Okay, it's far better if you cover an area and you really cover it well than spreading yourself thin all over the place. All right, so to give you an example, all right, I'm not going to give the I'm not going to give the business name and show you the actual listings, but I will just kind of spell this out for you. I have a client, his name's Patrick. He's in New York, and he's got a brand new HVAC business, okay? Patrick has other contracting kind of businesses that I SEO. So what he's discovered is that our SEO really builds contracting businesses fast. So he's actually has a few contracting kind of business, home service kind of businesses right now. And HVAC is a brand new one. It's literally, this is like a month and a half old, this business. And what we did was we decided to do this proximity strategy for him. So I do this thing for a lot of lead gen sites that I have, but I still do client work as well. And so this acts as a supplement for really ratcheting up client business. So what did we do? We built right out of the gate 50 Google My Business listings, and we saturated pretty heavily between about 2 counties in New York. And we started getting a few calls a day, 2 or 3 calls a day. But that's very exciting for new business. 2 or 3 service calls a day is a good start. We've ratcheted that up now to about 125 listings. And now those initial 50 or so have had a time to kind of kick in. He's now getting about 15 service calls per day. All right, now here's the key. This is the crazy part about it. We don't even have a website up for him yet. Okay, there's not even a website attached to any of those 125 listings. All right, so that is pretty nuts when you think about it, right? Because the old model was you got to build a site up, you got to take your time, you got to be trusted, then you can add some Google My Business listings. And now the model is completely reversed. It's now go ahead and make listings, see where you actually get positioned, and then you can optimize from there. So I know some of you guys are thinking, well, Matt, but don't you have to have a site and on-page optimize and do citations and all of this? Well, you're still going to want to do that, but I'm going to show you in a second what listings you want to start doing that with, because it really doesn't make sense to do all those out of the gate. Unless you just, if you have a large budget and you want to do that, fantastic. But a lot of people don't want to do that. They want big leverage. They want the most return for the least amount of investment. Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you. If you want to go big budget, I can show you that too. Okay, but a lot of people starting out don't necessarily want to do big budget. Okay, they want to see that it works. They want to get some proof of concept, and then they scale. Okay, so here's the key. This is how you do it. Okay, keywords, using keywords properly. I'm going to tell you right now that if you have keywords in your business name, you're going to rank a lot faster. Okay. Now there's a balancing point here. If all you do is make listings that just have your keywords and the niche, Houston landscaping, KD landscaping, Pearland landscaping, that can work, but just realize that you're making it very obvious to any of your competitors that you are absolutely doing this for lead generation. Okay. Even more of a giveaway for people that have, exact match domains. But realize that with a business name like that, you're spelling it right out to people that you're lead generation. So if you have any ruthless competitors, do not be surprised if those get suspended or if somebody flags you. It will just happen, okay? It's unfortunate, but it can and will happen. Not every time, right? I probably got 500 or 700 of these that are purely keyword named like that, okay? And I've lost a few. Not a lot, but a few. But it's frustrating if you lose one. So I'm just going to tell you right now that if you don't want to lose one, the best thing to do is to add some other words to it. But you really do want to get your keywords in the business name, at least part of them, because it dramatically helps where you're going to enter the map rankings. Okay, so as soon as your listing goes up, within a day or two, you're probably going to see yourself in the map results. Now, it's going to depend on the area, how many competitors there are, how big that city or suburb that you picked is for your listing. Okay, but what you're going to see is, in most cases, if you do a good job selecting an area, you'll probably come in somewhere between position 1 and 10. Okay. Now, if it's a very small city, a lot of times you can hit number 1 if you've got an almost exact match keyword to the business name or something close to it. A little secret is if you have a very short like initial or like a small word, not something that would be like a full word. Okay. Like I'll give you a hint. One of ours, part of the brand name is VP, literally VP, 2 letters. Okay. Or pros, PROS, or company, CO, period. Okay. So think about that. Instead of just calling it Houston Landscaping, it could be Houston Landscaping Pros, Houston Landscaping CO, period. Okay. Got my drift? You can add a little modifier to the business name. It makes it a little bit more real looking, right? Real sounding. And it doesn't hurt your optimization in terms of like diluting that, okay? Matching a keyword. So that can really, really help. So if you do branded names, those are fine as well, but just realize you're not going to rank as highly as quickly, okay? So if it's something that it's just more of like a long-term thing that you want to do, branded is a wonderful thing, but just realize you're not going to come out ranking number 1 in the maps unless it's a really, really small area. So one thing that I like to do is I like to combine brand and city together. So if this was VP Landscaping, right, let's say like that was the actual business, okay? Rather than just calling my listing VP Landscaping, I could go like this: VP Landscaping of Spring, VP Landscaping of the Woodlands, okay? So now what am I getting? I'm getting landscaping, I'm getting the Woodlands, okay? Meaning the Woodlands would be my area. So you see how this works now? It's not an exact match keyword, but it's close, okay? And names like this are absolutely crushing it for us, okay? That's just made up, so if you look it up, you're not gonna find me there. But in installation, HVAC, roofing, contracting, any these home kind of niches, this format works so good, okay? I like it a little bit better than I do just the exact keyword because it's just a little bit less suspect. A lot of people just won't even realize that that's a lead generation site, okay? So what we do first, okay? Because I told you, wait a second, no website, and we got, by the way, he got in 10 days, now this has been a couple weeks now since I got this figure from him, but in 10 days, he had 150,000 in new business because this is an HVAC guy, my guy Patrick. 150K new business, because some of these HVAC jobs, these big installs that they bid, 30 grand, 50 grand, it didn't take him long. Got 150,000 in new business. Do you think he was happy? He called me up and committed to like another, $15,000 to spend with me. So it was pretty awesome, right? I mean, this guy's already spent multiple 6 figures with me, but he keeps spending it with me because it keeps returning to him. And this is our best strategy by far for getting new business, all right? So short brand name combined with location is my absolute favorite. So we go make all the GMBs first, and then here's the key. You want call tracking set up, okay? Now, everybody's got a different call tracker that they like. I've not found one that's perfect. I was using Call Tracking Pro. They changed the interface and it just really made it cumbersome to use. So we have actually been trying some others out. We've been trying out the Jensen Call Tracker. Again, not perfect, but they have been making some adjustments to help us handle we got 1,000 numbers just for some websites. So they've been very good so far. So we'll see how that turns out. I can let you guys know what what tracker I recommend maybe in the next month or so, because I've got a few right now, and we're seeing which we like best. But yeah, so you need to have a call tracker, okay? And the reason why you need a call tracker is because the call tracker will let you see which of your new listings is getting the most traction. That's where you want to start your optimization efforts. I do not suggest, unless you just, have a lot of budget right away to work with, to go ahead and start doing all of your optimization for all of these at once. Now, if you do, fantastic, go ahead and just do them. But most people, it's going to be far better for them to have a greater number of Google My Business listings, okay? And just to start optimizing the ones that are getting the calls, because you're going to see right away that some are going to get more calls than others, okay? I'll be straight up with you. If you're doing a lot of small areas, some are not going to get calls, okay? At least not right away. Some will get calls. Those are the ones you want to start with. What do you do for those? You're going to want to do citations, okay? Now, you don't need to spend a lot on citations. If you are, some of you guys are members of our Modus 8 software and outsourcing special group. If you are, citations are $22 for 106 citations. Absolute cheapest place anywhere to get citations, because we don't mark anything up. I find outsourcers and give you guys the same deal that I negotiate for myself. I order from the exact same platform that you do, okay? But $22 for citations doesn't cost a lot of money. If you don't have Modus 8, you can go elsewhere. You're going to pay more money, but citations are a must, okay? And the reason why is because you're getting these keywords in your citation URLs, okay? So when you go get citations, you get major URLs like yellowpages.com, right? Manta, Superpages, okay? These are all kind of the mega sites. You're going to start with those, right? But the benefit is they're going to have like, these sites will have structures like this: Chicago/landscaping/ now it's VP landscaping of, Chicago, right? So what does this do? All right, without getting too in depth on link strategies here, because that's a whole nother topic, realize that when you have keywords in a URL like this that's linking to you, it is like magic, okay? It is like magic. I don't know if he's on, but if you ask Brett that's in our group, he would be nodding right now, because he has a site that he's been working on that's been following these principles to a T, okay? He's been coaching with me, and so he's been following these principles to a T, and I can tell you that when we did citations for like 8 or 10 of his GMBs, it was about 2 weeks later, and all of them shot up from like nowhere or very far down in the maps to like top 2, top 3, okay? Just massive jumps, okay? These are in areas that actually did have quite a few competitors. It's not like there was just 5 people in the maps. There were dozens. So, he was down the list a little ways and shot right up with just the citations. So people that tell you citations don't matter, just try them. Just try them and watch what happens. It is one of the absolute best links you can possibly get. These sites already have real traffic built into them. And your links from these major citation websites have your keywords right in them if you name your business, especially, with some keywords in it. So these are the best kind of links that you could get. Even, what's even better than that would be if you actually got, landscapingcompanies.com to link to you, or, top landscapers, or whatever those landscaping directories are. Again, if if you're in our other programs, you have those. But if you don't have those, then realize you want to find directories that have your keywords in their names, okay? So if you have a landscaping directory, that's going to be a massive boost for you. But don't go ahead and build those to all your GMBs to start, because that's a lot of effort. That's a lot of work. Instead, use the 80-20 rule. Take the 20% of your GMBs that are performing the best, that are getting the most calls, and make sure you go get reviews to those. Again, if you're using our stuff, they're like $4 a piece, all right? Get reviews, get your citations, build your city landing page, do your on-page optimization, okay? Connect that then to your listing. I don't connect websites to these listings right away. I don't. I put the GMBs up, I see what performs well, and then I go optimize those first, right? I spend my efforts on the things that are already working. Because if I'm already getting phone calls from something that doesn't even have any reviews, what happens when I add reviews? And now I add citations, and now I add on-page, and I push that up from 3rd in the maps to number 1. I'm gonna get more calls, right? And those calls then give me income, obviously, for this. And then what I can do is I can reinvest it back in and do the next listing, do the next one, and the next one. All right, so does that make sense? Don't go ahead and try to do what a lot of people are trying to do is they're trying to optimize everything at once and they get overwhelmed. Start with what's already performing and then just work your way back. And you're going to find that everything will be performing in time. But some listings are just going to do better right out of the gate, and you don't want to fight that. You just want to go straight to that. Dave had a good question. Are you sending the citations to the GMB or the GMB site? Dave, for this example here, this would be to the city landing page of a website that you would attach to it. Okay, so the website would come after all of this. If you don't want to bother with the website, you can just use the GMB site, but I can tell you that it's very obvious to people when you're using a GMB site as your website that that you're doing lead gen, that you're doing quote SEO, that you're a marketer, because it's not what normal businesses do. Normal businesses right now are really not using business sites. Okay, I get that it's another optimization point, but it's also a point where somebody can just whack you. Okay, so my preference is to get these built out first, and then you can take your site, start adding city landing pages to it, and sending your citations there. Okay, very safe form of linking to do to a brand new site. You are not going to tank your website by adding some city landing pages on, even if the site has nothing else going on. Okay, you will not tank your website by just sending some citations to city landing pages in a brand new website. Quite the contrary, you will actually start to do pretty well. Okay, so that makes sense. Citations, absolutely where you want to start. Now, on your city landing page, there's a few things you're going to want to add. You're going to make sure you have schema, okay, marked up on the page. Very, very, very important. An embedded business map, very, very important. A little bit of content about the city. I do 150 words, so it doesn't have to be a lot. The rest of the content, I do unique. You don't have to do unique content. You could just do spun or duplicate, okay? But you need to have a chunk of content, 150 words. If you want to do more, that's even better, but at least 150 words about the city so you have some uniqueness, okay? That's going to be important. Driving directions, links to relevant local places, and let's see, did I forget anything off the list? Those are going to be the main ones that you're going to want. An optimized image, okay? You don't have to do 20 or whatever on the site, but an optimized image, okay? Really important. I also add optimized images to the listing and make sure the listing is filled out completely, right? You're going to want to get some reviews going to it, but that's about all you really need to do, okay? Do you need to do all these other fancier things, extra supporting pages? And no, not to start. If you've named it properly, you've picked your areas properly, it's going to work fantastic, all right? Now, you're not going to be trying to rank for, Houston itself with these kind of listings, okay? If you do want to rank for something like this, you need to go hog wild on the citations and get as many of those niche and local citations as possible. Houston directories, landscaping directories, if this was, landscaping in Houston, really, really hit it hard. But it's more work, and that takes more time. So would you rather do that, or would you rather just pick off the suburbs right around Houston where the nicest homes are, where you're more likely to get good landscaping jobs anyway, and dominate those? Okay? Yeah, I would rather do that. Your client is going to be much happier, or if you're doing this for lead generation, you're going to produce better leads that you can sell for more money than you would just targeting the main city. Okay? So those are the keys, all right? A couple of you have asked, can you order Google My Business listings? You want multiple listings. How do you do that? Okay. What you're going to do is after the webinar is finished, you're going to send me a message. Okay. There's a couple ways you can send me a message. You can either go on Facebook. Okay. And you should have me just look at my posts in the group, right? You'll find me on Facebook, right? Or you can send a message into our support desk, and me or one of our reps will go ahead and message you back, support@i-automate.com, okay? And you can go ahead and send a message in there saying, hey, I want to get some GMBs, and we can help you do that. So scaling, all right? So how do you scale? The way you scale is basically what I laid out, the 80-20 rule of optimizing. You're going to want to get, I suggest, at least 10 listings to start. If you're not able to get 10 listings, hold off on this, because you're just not going to get enough call flow if you have like 2 or 3 of these. You're just not going to get enough. You really need like 10. Even better if you have like 20, but if you have 10, that's enough to get in the game. Okay. Like Dean in our group, you may have seen some of his posts in the group. Dean had 10 listings to start for a towing company. Lead generation site. Didn't even have a partner or anything lined up. And Dean was all of a sudden a little bit confused because he started getting calls, people looking for a towing company. He's going, what? He didn't even know the listings were live yet because we hadn't even delivered them. But because we set them up, with your tracking, with your phone numbers, as soon as they go live, you can start getting phone calls. So in this case, we hadn't even told Dean they were all done yet. We still go through our final checks, making sure they're all ready. And Dean hadn't even paid for these things yet. We hadn't told him they were even done, and he was already getting phone calls. And it was only a few days later he actually got somebody to a towing company lined up, his first partner to take those calls. And so Dean's been adding listings now. So that's like what I want for you guys. Is I don't want you to like get just a couple listings and get frustrated. You need to get at least 10. That's our minimum. And then from there, you can add more. Some people are getting 50 or 100, whatever. And if you need that many, great. But if you're just getting started, get 10 and you can get rolling. So the biggest challenge that people have had with scaling is GMBs have typically cost a lot of money, right? Typically a GMB listing, right? If you had to go find one, get somebody to verify one for you, they're going to charge you $150, $200, right? Now prices have definitely come down. You can find some places where you can get them a bit less, but our plan makes it really, really easy to scale. There's nobody that's doing it because quite frankly, no one's willing to finance you and take that on. I'm willing to finance you guys because here's the thing. If you have success, right? When you go out and you get these listings and you start making business happen, what do you think's gonna happen, right? You're probably gonna say, Matt, well, I want to know what else you got, right? This has been really good. Tell me about the software thing that you got, right? How do I do the outsourcing, right? Tell me about more listings. I want to get more of them. I mean, there's been some people in our group that have ordered 300 listings, okay? 200 listings. So, that's my goal for all of you, to make so much money with your first listings that you come back and get more, right? So the way I've set this up to make it really easy for you is that you literally just have to pay $8 per month for a Google My Business listing. And you're not paying it forever, only paying it for 10 months. Then the listing is 100% yours, okay? Now, the whole time you have dashboard access, you can manage, do posts, optimize. It is your listing, okay? We just keep ourselves on the account, until the 10 months is up, at which point we turn over the entire Gmail to you because we do create a new Gmail for each listing, at which point we turn over the whole Gmail to you, and at that point you can change the password, move it to another account, do whatever you want to do. But yeah, it's only $8 per month. And now you can see why people get a lot of them because, heck, you can get dozens of these listings. It's really not that much money per month. But that allows you guys to get those calls coming in, and you should be able to get calls coming in that you'll be able to bill out for more than what you're paying for your GMBs, okay? So the beauty about that is now you've got money coming in that's more than your GMBs, and you can scale. It's like virtual real estate. You sell it out, you're paying us less for the listings than you're able to sell them out for, and then you can scale. You can add more, you can add more, you can add more. Grow your business this way, and then after 10 months, you don't even have to pay for them anymore because they're paid off, they're yours, and then voila. So it's a sweet deal. People are just absolutely loving it. I've just been getting probably more rave reviews about this than anything we've ever done because it's made it really easy for you guys to scale, and people have loved the fact that that we're willing to finance you. And it just makes sense. Your success gives us more success. So I mean, last time I checked, my money in my bank account doesn't earn too high of an interest rate. So I would much rather put my money into you guys, see you do well, and have you return as a lifelong customer of ours, with everything else that we do. Okay, so that will help you massively. So let's go ahead and field the questions that you guys have about getting set up with these and making sure you get the most out of them. So Anders asked, which websites would you use for international citations? Anders, I don't have a list handy for the webinar here, but what I would suggest is just go ahead and you could do a Google search. I don't know what country that you're in, but just do a Google search and just type in business directories or online business directories, followed by whatever country that you're looking for, and you should be able to find a pretty good list. There's many sites out there that have good lists of directories. We do have a tool. It's a tool for our members that has citations by niche and location, and it's got like the whole world and all the niches and everything mapped out in it. But I don't have that handy. I tell you what, if you want a specific country or a niche, just message me. I'll be happy to pull one for you as an example. But there's thousands and thousands of sites in there, so I don't have that up currently to dig through it. But if that's something you need help with, I'd be happy to pull one for you just as a favor for you. Josen, can you provide a full list of services and prices for us? I'm assuming you're meaning all of like the outsourced items, citations, reviews, all that. That's all done through Modus 8, which I'll share with you guys more of that in time. Modus 8 is currently closed for membership. We launched a couple months back. We'll probably open up again in another month or two for new members, but it's like our private outsourcing group and software, so you can manage your whole business and outsource everything really inexpensively. It's really awesome. So if you're interested in that, you can message me with any questions that you guys have afterwards as well. Shoot me a message or send a message into support. We can answer those questions for you and put you on the waiting list for when it opens up. Brian, hey Brian. Brian asked what qualifications for cities. So my suggestion here is look at the niche and match it to the best suburbs that would be appropriate. So if this is something like real estate, okay, where it's like, all areas are good, but some areas are a little more high end and would be like better suited for a particular client, then you'd want to target those cities. In terms of qualifications, as small to as big a city as you want, we can handle. No limits in terms of that. But what I like to do is I like to look at the business and see what areas are most beneficial for that particular business. So, this may require asking a client, saying, hey, where do the best customers come from? What are the best areas around Houston? What are the best areas around Chicago that you find your customers are in? And they'll know, they'll tell you, right? And if you don't have a customer, then you can, talk to somebody that's a prospective customer and ask them as well. If all else fails, then, if it's a home service kind of thing, type affluent areas or highest income areas around Chicago or whatever it might be. That's my criteria. Is I like to go off income, because most of the home service stuff that I do, typically the leads are better, the jobs are bigger, they close higher in higher income areas. But that may not be the case if we're talking, payday loans or something, okay? So you just look at the niche. Brian, if you have any questions on this, and anybody, same thing. If you're going, hey, Matt, I want to get some GMBs, but I'm not quite sure where the best place to locate these is, shoot me a message, and I will do my best to help you, find the best particular spots. I've not worked in every single niche. I've worked in dozens of niches, so I've not seen it all, but I've seen a lot. So if you've got a question, I most likely can help you. Jason, hey Jason. Jason said, are you hiding your address in Google My Business? For almost every listing, yes. The only instances typically where we're not hiding them are for some niches where the norm is really just to show the address, like personal injury attorneys. Now, some listings we do have hidden. It's kind of 50-50. That's kind of one of the only niches I would say where we actually have addresses that are showing. Most of the stuff we're doing is service businesses, and we hide the address. Okay, so yeah, it's pretty rare that we show it, but personal injury is kind of one of those only categories that we've done. All right. Gary said, "Don't give up the farm, dude." I won't, Gary. Well, I'm giving you guys the starter farm here. Okay. if you want big business, that happens inside my my mastermind and my events and Modus 8. All right. But hey, if you like this, if this is juicy, I got I got stuff that's even better. But I'm only going to give people what they can handle. So you guys got to put this into place first before you get the next layer of this. Because if you get all the layers but don't apply it, then that's no good, right? You only get what you can handle. So you got to show that you can actually handle this first, and then you move on up, right? You gotta you can't just jump to the top instantly. That's not how it works, right? I mean, that's just a life lesson, right? So yeah, Amy, you can pay them off earlier, absolutely. Yeah, once they start making money, you can pay them off and expand if you want, but you don't have to. You can just there's no like there's no I mean, you can just pay them off early if you want. Like, we'll let you do that if you want, but by all means, you can take the full 10 months and just go with that. It won't hurt our feelings. No biggie. David says, this sounds great. How do we get started? David, what you're gonna do is in our Facebook group, okay, find my name, message me, or I'll put this in the chat right now, support@i-automate. Shoot us a message and just say, hey, I want to order, and we'll go ahead and message you and just say, hey, no problem, this is what we need from you. We have a private sheet that we'll send you. So when you say, hey, we want to order, I have a private sheet that we'll send you that'll just be shared to your email, and then you will put in, this is what you'll need, is you'll need your business name, business names technically, because if you're going to do like this strategy here where you say, VP Landscaping of Spring or Spring Landscaping Company or whatever it might be, you're going to put in each of those business names. So you're just going to use a different row for each one of these, but you're going to need the business name, you're going to need the city that you want, you're going to need the phone number that you want. The category is going to be important. Usually we can tell by the business name, but we prefer that you specify the category. If you're not sure on the category, say not sure. We'll help you pick the best category for it. So business name, city, phone, category, okay? And I guess we could put state in here just to make sure, because sometimes some cities are the same names in different states. But basically that is all we need. If you do want a specific address, like you want to have your listing at a specific building or a specific home or something like that, you can specify the address and we'll get the listing there for you. However, most people will just let us pick an address for them in that particular area. If it needs to be within a specific zip code, like you have just this one particular part of town that's really good and it's that one zip code, you'll be able to specify that zip code in the sheet as well. It's not required, but if you really want it in a specific area, you can give us that zip code, even in a full address if you want, and we'll put the listing there. Absolutely, you definitely want a unique phone number for every single listing, really important. Say you decide you want to do citations to these listings. You don't want to be running into a situation where you go, well, I got 10 listings or 20 listings, they all have the same phone number. Now what do I do, right? Yeah, you can go change it later, but just do it right from the start and you don't have to worry about it. The other thing is you want to be able to track where those phone calls are coming from. So if you have the same number on every single listing, you're gonna have no idea what listings are producing the best and which ones you should be putting extra effort into, right? Because what if 3 of your listings, what if 3 of your 10 listings are getting a huge amount of calls? Don't you want to make sure those are the ones you do the reviews and the citations and you're on page for first? I mean, yeah, you absolutely want to do that first, okay? All right, so those are basically the items that you need, and when we share the sheet with you, then what we'll do is, you'll have just these columns. They're highlighted in orange, so they're really easy to find. You just put the information in there and just let us know that you filled it out. We'll review it, and then what'll happen is we'll get started. We'll make the listings. I would suggest, if you guys are serious about this, do this like now. Like, get on it tonight and just get your sheet together. I will stay up tonight here until every last one of you has got your sheet. Okay, so message me or message into support for your sheet, and I'll give you a sheet to add these on. Okay, the reason I suggest that is sometime probably in the first week or 2 of January, I'm going to be announcing a new course that I have coming out that's going to be all around, if you like this kind of material, it's all going to be based around this. I'm going to call it Multi-Location Mastery 2.0. Our multi-location mastery course has been just super well received, and there's some things that I've now added to the mix that are even more powerful. So we're going to be covering those in a course coming up soon, and this is not a pitch for the course, believe me, that's going to come later. All right, but What's going to happen when that course comes out is everybody that's in the course is going to be getting a lot of GMBs. Okay, so part of the offer that we'll make is if you're buying GMBs, we'll probably give you some kind of smoking deal on the course. All right, so that's going to mean a lot of people are going to be ordering GMBs, and that could mean that times will be getting slow. All right, so right now our turnaround times are really pretty good. We can usually have these back to you in around a week. Some cases may take a little bit longer, but pretty quickly. All right, so I expect we'll probably need to add some more staff coming in January. So I would suggest if you're serious about this, start the new year off right and get on it, because it may be a little bit of a slowdown once we bring on a lot more people until we have the staff to support it. Okay, and I hate to see you excited about it and then waiting like weeks for us. Okay. So if it's something you're serious about, get on it, and then we'll get it rolling for you. Okay. So let's see what other questions that you guys have on this before we wrap up here tonight, and make sure you guys are all good to rock and roll with this. So Jeff, hey Jeff, and you've already got listings. So what's your question here? Do you recommend 1 GMB per zip code or a radius? Typically 1 GMB per zip code is overkill. You shouldn't need to do that much. I will do typically 1 per like city. Okay. Now I'm not saying 1 per city as in like New York is the entire city, but like if there's a sort of like one per like suburb basically. So there may just be a zip code dedicated to that, or maybe a few zip codes. In which case, yeah, it's 1 per zip code, but I don't base it off of the zip code. I base it off of the city name. And then what I do is I add the zip codes or the city name, if you will, as the service area. Because you can't set the radius anymore like you used to be able to. And it's actually better now to be able to just set your specific service area. Because one thing I did not mention, which is a great point, so thanks for bringing this up, is you do not want these listings overlapping in service areas. They need to have separate service areas. Treat it as though we're a franchise. Service areas could butt right up to each other, but they cannot overlap. Okay? You don't want to overlap them. Very important. Okay, you want to keep them separate. So I don't think you need 1 per zip code. I think that'd be a bit much. I would just do 1 per like area. Now, if it's a very, very large city, you could locate some strategically, like in the north, east, south, west. Like you could locate them around the city if you wanted to do it that way. I mean, that is kind of a more advanced strategy, but in big cities, you can have multiple listings in the same city, just taking advantage of proximity, but it's definitely not required. All right, let's see what other questions that you guys have here. Joshua asked, the citations you suggest, do those have unique descriptions for better indexing? So if you're using like our Modus 8 for citations, they're $22 to get 106 citations. They'll include optimized images and unique descriptions for you, but you need to provide the optimized images and the descriptions, right? So we do have a specific outsourcer to write unique descriptions. Okay, so there's somebody that will actually write unique descriptions, or you could do it if you wanted. Really boring, so I wouldn't do it. But you can actually outsource that, and yes, you will get better results having unique descriptions. You definitely will. Okay, but it's kind of good, better, best. Some people don't want to do that because they don't want to take the extra effort or money. But it's a good addition, and it will get you better results. Jeff, link create. I will do this. Shoot me a message on that, because that is that's something just you have access to. Okay, so you need to just go there and register for it. But yeah, just shoot me a message here, and I'll get you the direct sign up link. Okay. I don't want to put it in the chat since it's just for you. Sean, hey Sean. Sean said, okay, so say we get 20 or so GMBs. Once we see the ones that are performing well, do we create the city landing pages for them all on one site? Yes, that's correct. Yep. I do not do individual sites for each GMB. Nope, not if it's like the same niche. I bundle them all together. And that's kind of beyond the whole scope of this here, but that's what my multi-location mastery strategy is is it's taking lots of GMB listings and putting them on a site. Because what happens is instead of slowly trying to build a site, you get all these listings done, you attach them to a site, and now you do your citations to it, and you build all kinds of relevance into the site by having URLs like this, okay? So you're stacking all these keywords and all of these, all the niche keywords and location keywords all into the same site. So what happens is your site starts to take on a lot of relevance. So now once you add your next 20 GMBs, those will rank without even having citations, okay? I got some sites that after we did 10 GMBs this way, they rank without even citations. I have at least a couple hundred GMBs that don't even have citations done to them that are attached to a relevant domain, just like this, that rank just because they're picking up off the strength of that relevant domain. So yeah, I prefer putting them all on a domain. It's a lot less work. You don't have to build out 20 websites, and you will see that you get a lot better results that way. Okay. Hey, Megan. Megan said, how are the GMB listings getting phone calls without reviews? Right? I mean, that seems like bizarre that they would not be, why would anybody call them? But they're getting phone calls. Now, we do see, though, that once you add reviews, you get a lot more calls. So reviews is like the first thing that we get going on the listings. We actually drip reviews out 2 per week per listing. Right? That's the pace that I use. But yeah, there's plenty that are actually getting phone calls without even reviews, which is, you wouldn't think. I mean, I wouldn't call a business that didn't have any reviews, but people do. Keith said, any categories that are not allowed? No locksmith, no garage door repair. What else? No plumbing right now. Okay. Everything else should be good to go. Tim, yeah, I believe those are actually done for you. All right, so I will shoot you a message on that, and yeah, make sure you get access to them. Okay. But yeah, I know the Portland ones should be good to go. Joshua said, how do you name a GMB in the same niche in the same city? How do you name a GMB in the same niche in the same city? Oh, are you meaning, Joshua, if you do like multiple ones within the same city? If that's the case, you can just add a modifier to it. So VP landscaping of North Houston, VP landscaping of West Houston. Okay. I hope I understood you right. If not, just ask again and I can unmute you. Sean said, and is there any problem having multiple service area business associated with one site? No, not at all. I have actually all my sites are done this way. Multiple service area businesses all associated with one site. Kind of treated like a franchise. Okay. Derek, so I ordered 10 GMBs, but all different niches. Should I have ordered 10 in one niche, but 10 different suburbs? That's the way I typically do it, Derek. But you don't have to. And if you want to switch to that, like if you want to just go ahead and switch to that, then just let me know. I'm happy to actually to switch it for you, no charge. All right. So because I know you didn't know the full strategy behind it all until we did this webinar. So if you're like, hey, Matt, I think I'd rather just do one niche, and cover all the different suburbs and leverage one site, that's what I do. But all different ones is totally cool too. You're just going to get more variation of calls versus calls just in one niche. So if you want to switch to that, just hit me up. I'll switch it up for you and no charge, no big deal. Joshua said, oh yeah, example, landscaping of Detroit 1, landscaping of Detroit 2. Yeah, typically I don't do 2 within the same city like that. I just really canvas all the suburbs. If you want to do that, if it's a really big metro, then go with like, landscaping of, West Detroit, landscaping of South Detroit or whatever. But again, with a city like Detroit, I don't know Detroit well. I've only flown in there a couple times, connections. But I would suspect, having talked to some people that are from there, that the best areas for landscaping are going to be the suburbs, okay? A lot of Detroit, I've seen some of the home prices, right? And a lot of these, homes right in Detroit are probably not going to be ideal landscaping prospects, right? Your suburbs are probably where the jobs are going to be at. So again, you may not even need to get one in those big cities. It just depends on what the niche is, right? If the niche does seem to be appropriate for a large city like that, then what I would do is I would go ahead and title them with the areas of the city, like north, south, west, or northeast, or whatnot. Joshua, maybe reach out. A good person to reach out to would be Tim Geiger in our group. Tim actually is doing exactly what you're talking about in Philadelphia for another niche. I'm sure he'd be happy to kind of tell you how he set that up. I think I advised him on one of the webinars about that, but he's kind of carved up the city based on what I'd call like local terms, like South Philly and I don't know what the different names are, but kind of the locals terms for how they would search for stuff, and then locating the GMBs in those different parts of the city. Amy, I will send you the sheet. Yep, I saw your message, so I will send you the sheet. We'll get you all set up. Each of you will have your own private sheet, and you can just add your listings there. Randy said suggested theme to use for a website. I really don't have a suggested theme. I have a private lead gen theme that I've had built that I've been using. Maybe in some time I'll show that more. Most themes will work just fine. In mine, I have it set to where a different phone number will, I have like a location set up within the site. So like I add a location in, and then like that phone number will appear just on the landing page of that particular site. So instead of like a main number just being in the header on that city landing page is the phone number for that location, right? And then I have a spot automatically that fills in a map and like the business, city, like the address and everything. So that's just the way I've set it up. A lot of my older lead generation sites that I haven't even updated to my new theme are running Divi, and that's always worked really well. But yeah, my newer stuff has just been built to like scale a bit faster and easier. It's a little more custom. But yeah, really any theme will work. My favorite is if you can get somebody to make like a what do you call it? Like a custom post type or some kind of a custom field, so that way you can set a phone number per page and match your city landing page to the phone number that you have on your listing. It's a minor point, but if somebody's actually like kind of snooping, looking at your listings, right? It definitely makes your listings a lot more legit looking if they go to the site and at the top of the page you have your phone number, and it's the phone number for that exact listing, and it's all got a map, and it's all like branded to that location. It looks a lot better than just something that is got a generic number. Less likely to get flagged there. Okay. Tim said, if a city has already 10 GMBs in your niche, do you still go after that city or look for less saturated cities? I would. That's going to be kind of about like the max, Tim. I like to look for less saturated ones. When I say like 10 wouldn't scare me off. With a good keyword business name, you're going to do pretty well. Once you do attach it to a website like that's optimized, like we've been talking about, then you'll do extremely well. But for low-hanging fruit, I like the suburbs that that have got 5 to 8 people or so. Okay, it doesn't have to be, but I'm more looking at not just how many competitors there are, but are they located in that exact town? That's important, because a lot of times these map results, there may be 10 competitors or 15 competitors, but you're going to find that they're not all actually in that town. Google is showing like people from the nearby towns because there's not a lot of people in that town. So in that case, once you do your listing, like I just got some listings for myself in North Carolina, and a couple of them hit Snack Pack right away. All right, like right away. And I won't say the city here, but let me just do a quick population search on my phone. And I'm going to tell you how big this city is, because I don't think it's tiny. Oh, actually, this one's a little bit smaller. This is 10,000 people, so it's a bit smaller. I hit number 1 in Snack Pack immediately. There's a couple others that are like 10 to 30,000 population. I hit 1 or 2 in the Snack Pack like within the first 2 days. So those are like real, anything that's that small is like a real sweet spot. That being said, I've gotten Snack Pack a lot of times in cities that are 50,000 population. even 75, okay, even 100 in some cases. So it depends more on the niche, how many competitors there are. But 10 or less, you're going to be in good shape. Joshua actually asked something similar. Are there minimum population requirements for zip codes or cities? No. A little trick is, you can just look to see if it shows up in Google Instant when you just start typing, for that thing. But even if it doesn't, it's not important because, again, a lot of people are going to type in, your keyword, and they're not going to type in a geographic modifier. Okay, they're just going to type in landscaping, landscapers near me, and that's the kind of stuff that doesn't show in a keyword tool. So it's more important you locate yourself where there's population that could buy what what you're ultimately selling or what your client's ultimately selling. Alex asks, when you build citations, what do you put for website URL if you have no website built yet? When I would do citations, Alex, I would actually just use my city landing page URL, even if it wasn't built out yet. Okay. So when it comes time to actually pick like those listings that I'm going to optimize to start, that's when I would actually go get myself a domain. And even if it's not all built out yet, you can still go build citations to a URL, like, to, Chicago. Let's give you an example. You could still go build something to like vplandscaping.com/Chicago. You could still go build links to that URL, even if it's not fully up yet. Because once you get your page all populated out, then that'll count. But typically we build out the city landing page, right when we're going to be doing the citations and everything else. So we wouldn't have it before, but once we start and go, hey, we want citations and on page and all that, that's when we'll build the city landing page. But yeah, I'm good to start using that, on citations as soon as we've just developed the URL. Doesn't even have to be all finished. You can put a URL in there without it being finished. Literally can just be an under construction or a shell page. Venu, how do I get multiple phone numbers? My favorite is Twilio. Twilio.com, and if you need help on how to forward those numbers to another number, you can shoot us a message. We'll forward you a little article that'll show you how to set it up. It's really easy. But Twilio.com is what we use. I don't know, for US numbers, it's $1 per month for the phone number, right? And it's like not even a couple cents, and 1 cent, 2 cents, and it's something like that. It's really cheap. No, we don't require an actual address for service-based businesses. If you want to specify one, you can. Otherwise, we will find one, and that's no problem. We will give that to you, so when it comes time for citations, you can use that. Brian said, can I add more on this weekend? More listings? Yeah, you already have a sheet, Brian, so just go ahead and add yours to that sheet. Okay. Imran asks, Matt, please shoot me the next steps and payment link. That course, is that part of Mastermind? That's going to be separate, I think, from Mastermind. Yeah, I haven't got all the particulars worked out yet, but yeah, we'll get you the sheet, and you can add your listings there. Alex said, never mind, you first poke around which suburbs already hitting 3-pack, then build a citation. Yep, exactly, Alex. Yep, you got it. Poke the suburbs that hit the 3-pack, then you start building out your citations. Yeah, no, it'll be something good for you, Jeff, for sure. I take care of my my people, right? David said, fantastic. I just friend requested you on Facebook. This is a very generous offer. Thank you. Yeah, you're welcome, David. Absolutely. Brian said, service areas overlap. How? Yeah, you don't want to overlap them. All right. So, for instance, let's just look at Houston. Let's look at a map of Houston. I can show you. Or actually, Brian, you're in Chicago, so I'll give you a better example. Maps, here we go. Okay, so when we're looking at a map, okay, you can kind of see on this map right now, maybe kind of small on your screen, but see how it's actually got this little faint line all around Chicago, okay? It's got this little faint line all around all of Chicago. What you're going to do is you're going to want to block everything out basically by city. It is the easiest way to do it. So you don't have to necessarily know every single little zip code, but let's just go ahead and let's type in like Elgin, for instance. I think that's how you say it, Elgin. Okay, see how it's got that little map? All right, so what's going to happen is if we pick Elgin for a listing, then on that Elgin listing, we're just going to specify as the service area that we want Elgin. Okay. Now in another listing, let's say we want to do Schaumburg. Okay, so we're going to locate one right next to it, Schaumburg. Now watch what's going to happen. Bam, it just highlights Schaumburg. Okay. So the way I do it is I literally just go and I just cover. So I do like Elgin, Schaumburg, Arlington Heights, Des Plaines, maybe is how you say it, right? Aurora, Naperville, St. Charles, Bolingbrook, Oaklawn, see Oak Park. I just literally go and like think of like little bubbles. I literally just make little bubbles like this. Okay. Now, if there's some little cities that you miss, you know, that are like in between, yeah, you can always go ahead and just add those later. But you know, the big key is you just don't want them overlapping. You don't want to have an Elgin listing on your website, like attached to the same website that has Schaumburg listed as a service area, and then your Schaumburg listing has Elgin as a service area. You don't want to cross-pollinate like that, right? You want to keep it separate, so that way each one is not overlapping. They could touch, but right up next to each other, but you don't want, you know, you don't want a service area set on your listing for a city that also has its own GMB, okay? You want to keep them separate. Yeah, Jim, just message me about that. I'm able to get that for you, okay? Okay, I'm able to get that for you. Keep going through the questions here. Will, hey Will, for the on-site driving directions, one, how many do you typically add? I should actually specify that. So we do two things. We don't actually do, when I say driving directions, I should be a little clearer. I don't actually mean like full driving directions maps. I actually just mean like the links to relevant places. All right, it's not actually a full driving directions map. So for instance, say we were putting some relevant links on the page, right? Some quote directions to places. In Schaumburg here, there's a convention center, all right? So what I could do is I could actually get this link here for the convention center, and I could actually link on my page saying, hey, here's some local places in Schaumburg that are well known. And I'll just link over to convention center. It's not actually a full driving directions map to it, okay? So yeah, there are places of interest, but I don't actually build full driving directions map. I mean just literally a link to their map. That's all. I do like 4 or 5 of those. I do hide them in an accordion in the city page. Yes, I do. Okay, I put all my optimization like that in an accordion. Okay. Great questions, everybody. I'll stay till we answer them all. So Frank said, hey, Matt, does having our own unique optimized company name for the GMBs cause confusion with the customer if we forward the calls to a client with a different company name? Great webinar. Thanks, Frank. No, it won't cause a problem. But what you may want to do is you may want to, if you are recording the calls, you'll know if it causes a problem, because if they answer and they kind of stumble, then you'll know that it's an issue. So that's one way, is just to kind of see how they handle it. But the other way is to, you can prep the client and just say, look, we're using multiple methods to get these customers for you. And so there may be times where somebody calls and references one of our site names. And so there's a couple things that you can do. One thing that you can do is you can just say, hey, that's a division of our company, or yes, that's part of our company, or yes, that's us as well, or something like that. It just depends on what they're comfortable saying or how they want to handle it. But that's typically, there's other ways of doing it as well, but they're not my way, and so I can't reveal that without permission. But that's a good way to do it. That's the way I do it. Alex said, on your website, what is the content ratio, geo versus niche related pages? Alex, I wonder if you mean like the whole website. In terms of the whole website, we do have a lot of niche content. Okay, we build out a lot of niche content pages. Okay, so like if there's a keyword, we have a page for it. It doesn't mean that we're gonna have a keyword page for every for every single town for that keyword. No, typically just have one landing page for the city. But if we're talking an insulation website, I'm gonna have a page for attic insulation, spray foam insulation, wall insulation, garage insulation, crawl space insulation, air sealing, air ducts. I'm gonna have pages for everything related to that niche because that's gonna build relevance within my site. Again, kind of beyond the scope of just this here, but on the actual landing pages, the content ratio, geo versus niche, it's going to depend. Some of our, I just look at it like this. Our geo content's 150 words, and then add whatever niche content that you've got on the page. So in some cases, that might be like 500 words. Some cases, it could be longer. But my geo content is only like 150 words. So in terms of a ratio, it's going to depend just on, on what your site's got. But I don't look at like a hard ratio or anything. I just want to make sure I have some geo content on there so it is relevant as well. Jonathan, shoot me a message about doing Singapore. May be able to do that for you, but it may just take a little bit more time. So just shoot me a message on that. Tim said, is there a specific website used to determine a city's medium income and population? Wikipedia actually has population. It doesn't have income. I typically rely on my clients or lead partners to guide me in terms of what areas are the best for that niche. So I don't look at just population, because if it's a really affluent area and that fits for the niche, I don't really care so much about that because, a couple good leads from there could really produce, right? Let me just have a little sip of my tea here, guys. Give me 1 second. Okay. So yeah, I don't look at specific population numbers. I really like to look more at where the ideal people are for the service. Okay, if you don't know that, you can start with population. But a little trick as well is just to type in best places to live. So if you just go like this, best places to live near Houston. Okay, so you just do this, best places to live near, and you're gonna find these articles that have, like the nicer areas. Okay, Woodland, Sugarland, right? You're gonna find like these other areas, or like best places to raise a family. They're typically gonna be like, nice suburbs. Okay, so, but think about the niche that you're looking for. If you're talking a towing business, this may not apply, right? If you're talking a landscaping company, plumbing, HVAC, roofing, handyman, insulation, whatever, like a service kind of business that relies on homes, then typically your nicer homes are going to be your best bet. If it's not a niche that's located, it's not that at all, then you're probably just going to go off population. Okay. Yep, Jim, I see you sent me a message about your sheet. We'll get you all set up there. No problem. Yeah, Jeff, in your case with New York metro area, yeah, you're probably gonna want to locate. You're gonna have to like hyper drill down, right? Because there's gonna be areas that have a lot of companies. So your best strategy in that case is going to be actually getting your keywords into that business name. You're going to want to pick out areas, Upper East Side, Upper West Side. Like you're going to want to pick out, those areas and really hit the keyword hard. Okay, that's what I would do. A little bit less branded, a little heavier on the keyword. Brian, you're okay to go with bigger populations over 100,000 as well. Not a problem there. Just realize, look at the map competitors. If there's more competitors, you're absolutely going to need to do some citations, right? You're going to need to have your site attached, so on page as well. Okay. Josen asks, is there ever a problem when a customer thinks they're calling the GMB business name, but the people answer the phone or your client's business name? Seems like some confusion can happen. Yeah, there can be. There's a couple ways to handle it. Some people will actually route their phone calls through like an answering service to filter that out and then just forward the lead to the client via like text message. We do that in a few cases for stuff that really counts. We want to just like patch them right into the person or text it right to the estimator. But It's not. Yeah, I've not found it to be a big deal. It's really, you need to, all of this hinges on having the right lead partner too. The best lead partners are going to have somebody dedicated on the phone that can actually take your calls. If your lead partner is like a one-man show, it's going to be hard to really scale up and make big money with them because they're kind of doing everything. They're like estimating the jobs, they're answering the phone up, they're busy estimating a job, so they can't take the phone. So now they just missed that lead. So the best lead partners are going to be the ones that can actually take the calls. So if they're not set up to take the calls, like with a dedicated person, they're going to have trouble. All right. And typically they're going to be more marketing oriented anyway, because it's a little bit larger and they know that they can handle those calls. And I find that, you just have the discussion with them and just say, look, or you just wait till it comes up. But they like the leads, so they'll find out what's comfortable for them and go with it. And I've not had a problem. I mean, we've sold a lot of leads, and yes, it will come up, but we've never lost like a client over it or anything. Typically we just have to find a way for what the client's comfortable with, right? But no, we've never had to do that. You can even change the GMB business name to the client's name. That's a little trick, but don't do that unless you know what you're doing. I don't do anything with plus codes, Alex. Tim said, what's the max number of GMBs you would attach to a website? Right now I've got like 300 going to one. That's a lot. But I do a lot. And so max number I would attach, I don't think there's really a max. I mean, I doubt you're probably going to do 300 to a site. But yeah, they can absolutely be in different states going to the same website. Actually, a lot of my stuff is like that. It's like a regional specific site. And it helps because you build relevance into the website and you don't have to spend as much effort ranking those additional locations. Okay. So yeah, multiple states, 100%. 100%. But yeah, max, there's not really a max. Think of it like a franchise. You just keep adding locations. Anders said, Happy New Year from the land of smiles, Thailand. Well, thanks, Anders. Happy New Year. Don, hey, Don. Don said, do you think the strategy would work for B2B services like bookkeeping, medical billing, etc.? I would just check, Don, to make sure that the search volume is there just for like the root keyword, not necessarily the location. Bookkeeping, I would think definitely. Medical billing, I'm not as familiar with that one. I do have people that are ordering them for like accounting and bookkeeping, so I would suspect those would work. Medical billing, I'm not as sure about. I would just look to see if there's some keyword volume just for the root term, not necessarily the location. But yeah, you should be fine. Just make sure that people are actually looking for the service, and then as long as you locate it in good populated areas, you should be fine. Jeff said, so example like my business name, Greenwich Village. Yeah, that'll work. Or try to get the keyword, try to get like, pest in there as well. Don said, what is the max GMBs you manage under one Google account? I got some that probably have about 50 to 75 or so. There's other people in our group that probably have 100 or 150. But if there's a problem with the listing, it happens at the owner level of the listing, and then it's just like unavailable to other users after that. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. Putting a manager on a listing is a smart way to do it. So yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much. Once you hit like 50, you could just make another manager account. Brian said, thanks, Matt. Great info. Have a good night. Oh, you're welcome, Brian. Great. Is there any other questions? Anything else that I missed? Sometimes the GoToWebinar chat gets jumbled for some reason, like as I start clicking through the questions, they go out of order. So if I missed anything, let me know or shoot me a message after the fact as well. It looks like most of you kind of got the deal of how to order these because I see my phone lighting up with lots of messages. So as long as you've sent me a message or sent a message into support at i-automate, I'll put it back on the screen one last time here. support@i-autom8.com, or message me on Facebook. I will get a sheet set up for you where you can add your listings. We go ahead and get them all made. You do not pay for them until after they are live, right? So once we get them set up for you, then it's $8 per month for the 10 months, and then they're fully yours. So let me see if there's any other questions. It's not showing me any others. I apologize if I missed a question, if GoToWebinar didn't show it to me. If I did, shoot me a message. We'll be sure to answer that for you. But that's it. So thank you all very much. Glad to have you with us. Hope you guys have had an awesome 2018, and best wishes for a wonderful new year. You'll be seeing a lot more from me in 2019. We're going to have a lot more of these helpful webinars and videos and lots of good stuff coming your way. So whatever we can do to serve you, let us know. Send us your questions. And for those of you that are getting GMBs, you're going to be in for a treat. It's as several people have said, it's addicting. It's really fun once you start to see some calls coming in, and then you make some money, and then you get some more calls coming in, and it starts to snowball, and before you know it, you've got you got thousands of calls coming in a month, and life is good. So Jeff said, thank you, Matt. Awesome as usual. And Will said, many thanks. Yeah, you guys are welcome. Thanks for hanging out with me. I am going to go. I will message you all with your sheets, and you guys can get those put in, and we'll get rocking on them for you. Okay? You guys are all welcome. Thanks so much. I will talk to you later. Good night.